All right, so welcome to today's class, okay? And then today I'm going to be talking about fair value gaps, right? Which is short for FVG, all right? So FVG means fair value gap, and then it's also another name for imbalance, all right? So just in case you get to see someone say imbalance, okay? Imbalance simply means fair value gaps, all right? Now, when we get talk about fair value gaps, all right, they are basically inefficiencies in price, all right? Now, let's take, for example, you get to see a candlestick form, all right, like what we have on the chart right now. Now, you can see that, okay, this candlestick formed, all right? You can see that this candlestick formed and then it left an imbalance here, okay? In the sense that this week, all right, where is it? Where is this? Where is this? In the sense that the previous week, okay, it stopped at this point and then a huge candlestick formed, and then the next candlestick wicked up and could not, all right, it could not fill up the space, all right. So instead, it left some space right here. Now, this space that price left here is called what? An imbalance or a fair value gap. And then one thing you must know is that definitely price will definitely come back to fill. All right, now this is currently USD. I know that price will do what? Will definitely come back to fill this imbalance and maybe sell later on. All right, but then price will definitely come to fill up this imbalance. All right, now how do you get to use imbalance for entry? Now you use imbalances for entries and to also spot possible what's it called reversal points. Okay, now not necessarily reversals, but then you just know that whenever you have an imbalance, all right, price will definitely come to feel it. Okay, now let me give you an instance, and I want to try to run a quick analysis on USD using this imbalance. Now, let us go to my daily time frame, all right? Now, let's assume on a daily time frame, okay, um I get to see something like this, okay? Now, this is a very huge imbalance we have over here, all right? Now, this is a very, very huge imbalance we have here, all right? If you get to look closely, you will see that, okay, this is where this candlestick stopped, right? This is where this candlestick stopped, and then this is where this one also stopped, all right? All right, so now we have this as a very huge imbalance, all right? So I know that definitely price will later on, all right? Later on wants to fill up this imbalance, all right? So now I know that, okay, there's a possibility that this fair value gap right here will draw price down. Now, at this point, I'm teaching two things. I'm teaching fair value gap and I'm also teaching analysis, all right? Now, at this point, I know that we have a fair value gap that can act as draw on liquidity, that can act as magnets, all right? Now, this fair value gap can act as magnet to price. Where's the magnet icon or the magnet emoji? Well, it can act as magnet to price in the sense that now this fair value gap right here is drawing price. That's why you see that, okay, maybe price will most likely come down and then go up, right? So now this fair value gap is acting as well, drawing liquidity to price. Then let's go down to our maybe 4 hours time frame, all right? Now on our 4 hour time frame, we can also spot another fair value gap, all right? You can spot another fair value gap here that I already highlighted. So price also still needs to come back and fill up this fair value gap. So having this knowledge, what do you think? There is a possibility that we're going to have price do what? Go up from here, fill up this fair value gap, and then maybe come down later to fill up another one, okay? Then maybe later do whatever I want to do. You get? So now these are the idea, or this is how you get to use the idea of fair value gap. Now you can also use fair value gaps for entries, all right? You can also use fair value gaps for entries. Now, how do I mean, or what do I mean by you can also use fair value gaps for entries, all right? Now, in the sense that, okay, let's assume we've done our analysis, all right? We've known the possible direction of price, all right? Let's say right now, okay, I am looking for a buy on Euro USD, all right? Let's say I'm looking for a buy on Euro USD right now. And then, okay, I have to see that, and I'll get to see that, okay, I have what? Sell side liquidity taking over here, all right? I have buy side liquidity taking over here, which ended up being my market structure shift, all right? Now, at this point, I want to look for an entry using the fair value gap. All right. Now you can see if you look closely, you will see that now we have a fair value gap somewhere. Now this point here, we have a fair value gap here. Now this looks small, but it is also a fair value gap. All right. And then just below your fair value gap, what do you see? An order block. So if you get to highlight everything, you can have something like this, right? So you can have this as what? As your entry. So what you get to do, you can just put your entry here, your buy entry here, and then your stop loss will be above this major low right here. Your take profit, of course, as you know, you'll be targeting what? External range liquidity. This is very simple, guys. All right. Now I want to teach you guys something also. Make sure, okay, or anywhere you get to see an order block plus a fair value gap, just like this one we saw now. Okay, it most times gives you a very strong confirmation. Whenever I see an order block plus a fair value gap, okay, it gives you a strong confirmation. Let me look for another example of what I just said now and show you an order block plus a fair value gap. What do I mean by that? Let me look for another example and show you. All right. Another block plus a fair value gap gives you strong confirmation. Have that at the back of your mind. All right. So when you get to analyze, all right, and then you get to find out that this other block is also carrying a fair value gap, then you pay attention to that because that might serve as a very strong confirmation. All right. Now, I want to look for one that price actually expected so that you get to understand what I mean. Oh, now, also, when you get to use your fair value gap, you don't use fair value gap as so entry, what's it called? As so entries. No. All right, just like I said in the other block video, you will need other confirmations, you will need other confluences alongside your fair value gap. All right, you have to first of all make sure that structure is in line. You have to first of all make sure that liquidity maybe plays a role also, because if you get to trade this thing the wrong way, you will get burned, right? If you get to trade it the wrong way, you will get burned, all right? Now, this is an example of what I mean, other block plus fair value gap, all right? This is it here. Now, we have this to be what? Another block, okay? You can actually say this is another block, and then inside the other block, we have what? A fair value gap. Now, this is a fair value gap right here. Okay, this is a fair value gap. So now this movement in between, okay, this movement in between is a fair value gap, okay, plus an order block. All right, so now this gives you added confidence, and you can see, of course, you can see how price reacted. First of all, price came back, reacted, all right, then it came more into the other block, all right, and then did some things and then bought. All right, so an order block plus a fair value gap, you can see the movement from here, okay? So an order block plus a fair value gap is a very, very good entry signal, all right? Very good entry signal, all right? Now, look out for fair value gaps on the higher time frame because they will serve as a draw on liquidity. Have that at the back of your mind. Look out for fair value gaps on the higher time frame because they will serve as draw on liquidity. Okay, as far as it's in line with structure. What I mean by draw on liquidity means that it will serve as a magnet to price, just like I explained earlier. This fair value gap now is magneting price because price needs to fill up this inefficiency. Okay, price needs to fill up this inefficiency. It's more like price delivered price. Okay, that's not this funny. It's more like price delivery here. All right, was not complete. So price needs to come back and satisfy the people he left hanging here. Okay? He needs to come back and satisfy and fill up the inefficiency. You need to come and fill up the space. So this is serving as what? Draw on liquidity. Okay? Now let's assume you get to look for internal, maybe let's say you're done analyzing, okay? I dropped what's it called? I dropped the cheat sheet on the group. Now you have to look out for that also. Let's assume you have price, okay, maybe internal structure, something like this, buy side taking over here, market structure shift over here, and then you're looking for entry, okay? Now, you can also sell from a fair value gap. Earlier I told you can sell from another block. Now, anyone that price presents, okay? If you see both of them, then that is better off, right? Now, you can also sell from a fair value gap at this point. Okay, now your entry here could be a fair value gap or an order block. Very simple. Okay, you could be selling from what? A fair value gap, an FVG, which some might also call an imbalance. Or maybe, okay, or maybe you get to want to trade maybe a particular liquidity setup, all right? And then you have something like this. Maybe you want to buy, you now have something like this, Now you can actually, okay, at this point, you can actually what? You can actually buy from a fair value gap right here. You get. Now you will learn and master these things when you practice them. So I want you guys to go back to your charts, right? Go back to your charts and try to identify this fair value gap. Now, this is a very, very powerful theory I am teaching you. This is very powerful. This is a very powerful strategy I'm teaching you guys. Go back to your charts and practice these things. Okay, I want to see screenshots of them in the group. Send screenshots of them on the group chat. It does not, you can back test it, okay? Go back test, then send me screenshots of them. I don't mind. Okay, I don't mind. So I really want to see them. Okay, so I think that'll be the end of this class. And until I see you in my next class, I wish you a happy learning and happy trading. It's King, and I'm signing out.